Hello, Libra, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of April 13th through the 19th. And during that time, we will have a full moon on the 13th, and that's a time for heightened emotions. You could be prone to being overwhelmed and anxious, maybe a little snappy and irritable. If you're like me, you might have changes in your sleeping patterns. So just make sure you're keeping that energy in mind as we move into that full moon. And that's just it's a good time for all of us to practice patience and calm. And just remember that those energies are there. We will then move into the waxing gibbous, of course, and that's a really good time. Self-reflection, rebirth, make some positive changes, and most importantly, just buckle down and get some things accomplished. Good time to get rid of bad habits and negative thinking and just get to work. So just keep those moon energies in mind as we're moving through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter. So, of course, please keep that in mind and take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. All right, Libra, your overall message for this reading is you're very close to achieving your goal. Well, that's always good news, I think. All right, Libra, as I'm shuffling the tarot, I would like to say that since my readings are free to you, all I ask in return is that you hit that subscribe button. It really does help my channel, and it's super, super easy for you to do. So I'll give you just a moment to click that button right now. Thank you so much. And if you've been a subscriber, thank you so much for coming back and helping me build a community here. I'm starting to see repeating faces, and I really do appreciate that so much. So thank you. Also, my weekly reminder for this week is that you notice the world around you this week. This would be anything in the form of synchronicity. So this could be animals or repeating numbers, maybe a song that you hear or a conversation that you overhear. But watch for those synchronicities as the universe speaks to you. There's always clues and breadcrumbs for you to follow, and they're there to show you clarity on your unique path. So that is just my reminder for the week. All right, Libra. April 13th through 19th, you're very close to achieving your goal. Let's see what that is. All right, overall energy, Libra, is celebrating a little bit of something here. So having a little celebration. This is usually kind of in the public realm where you're getting pats on the back and, just a little recognition for something that you've been accomplishing and something you've been doing. And that is always a great thing. Your current situation is the Sun card. So you're sitting in a place where you're just really happy. This is the most happy card in the deck. This is, a card of nurturing and light and things coming to fruition. This is, those things that you've been manifesting are there, and it's just a really great positive energy, which I really do love. At the root of your situation, can it get any better here with the Nine of Pentacles? So this is definitely enjoying the fruits of your labor. This is a card of wealth and security and bounty and fulfillment. So wow, let's just see if Libra can get any more positive. I love when readings start off like this. Just behind you is the Knight of Wands. So it looks like, you've had some sort of kind of some action coming in the way of passion and maybe something that you're, it's just behind you, but it's something that you really love and you've spent some time on it and you're kind of, it's brought you to this place of you're just feeling really, really good about things and kind of celebrating, again, a little celebration and enjoying life, which is great. I love it. Most of the readings this month have been really kind of super positive and or this month, I mean for the week. And it's funny to me as a reader that I just started doing here, within the last few months doing collective readings like this, to really notice that sometimes, there are weeks that go by and most of the signs are just having a great time or not, So I'm noticing that there's kind of these weird themes when it comes to just the entire collective, which is very, very interesting to me. What is on your mind is the Empress, which is, again, here we are. Just look at the yellow laid out in this reading. Just so much yellow positivity everywhere in the entire reading. This guy, he's got a yellow shirt on. This knight is wearing yellow. the sky in in these cards, she's wearing yellow. It's just so bright, almost I want to say the future's so bright, I gotta wear shades, that kind of feeling. So, the Empress is our card, and what's on your mind is creativity and giving birth. And this doesn't mean actual birth, although of course it can. Some of you might be new parents, and that can certainly be a thing. I've actually missed that in readings before. That even though even I always forget that it is a card of pregnancy, even though it doesn't always mean that. Sometimes it actually does mean that. So, but that's on your mind, is this creativity, and this is the card of again, it's kind of the same as this one. It's like bounty and harvest and just beautiful, beautiful energy. What is just ahead of you this week? All right, is the Eight of Cups. So you're going to take all of these full emotional cups and you're going to say, all right, doing great. What else is out there? So kind of that moving forward and seeking. And that's awesome. I love that energy as well. In your advice position, is a little bit of these cups knocked over here. So a little bit of sadness about something. And it could be that, that you're in such a happy place that maybe there is just a part of your life that you're having to let go of. And that can always be sad. I don't see this as being any major sadness or anything, but, it's in your advice position. And I always like to say that, even though there's some sadness about things gone by, that you do have these full cups behind you. You've got them at your back here. Same thing. And so don't make sure you don't get bogged down in that, but make sure you turn around and remember and be grateful for those cups that are full. What is beyond your control this week is the Chariot. So that is very interesting. So the Chariot card is, it's interesting. It's almost like I like to say that it's not about movement, but it's about preparing for the movement. And these two sphinxes that are in the front, they're in opposing positions, right? So this is kind of that feeling of being pulled in two different positions, and that's beyond your control. And that's that's all life, is making those decisions when we're all kind of at that crossroads where there's a pull one way or the other, and what thing's going to get more of your attention, and what and where can you eat it. So those are decisions that we're constantly making, and that is definitely beyond your control this week, that you're kind of thinking about how to execute things in the future and how you will handle that pull, that being pulled between one thing and another. And it's okay, because you will figure that out, and we all do. That's part of the decisions is life. And as we get more and more mature, I was just telling one of my sons yesterday, we were having this conversation, that I explained that as you get older, those decisions are so much easier, and you don't get presented with as many of them as you do in your youth. Your youth is, you're really figuring out who you are, and you're making those decisions, and it's almost just a back and forth every week of things that are going on, that you're trying to decide who you are based on those decisions. And I was explaining to him that as you get older, you've made those decisions. You know who you are. Those decisions become very easy because you've made them before. It's not a big pull. So, and I'm kind of feeling that here, this is kind of a maturity thing, and it's beyond your control, that you're kind of being pulled in two different directions, but I don't see that it's going to be difficult for you to know which direction needs your attention. If that made any sense at all. That was a very big ramble. What is your secret desire, or what you're trying to avoid, is the Page of Pentacles. So here comes our pages with some message or something about money and something about material things. So and is that your secret desire, to have some new path come in that way, or are you trying to avoid that too? So definitely something to think about, Libra. If that comes your way, and that might be where you're kind of pulled. This is, maybe there's a new side gig that comes in for you, and you're pulled, like, oh well, I'm busy at my job already, and is it going to be overwhelming to take on this other thing? Or by working more, is that taking away from my family? Or so you do have to think about those things. And that, again, it gets older, or gets easier as you get older, as your priorities are kind of more defined. In your outcome position, more yellow. I'm just amazed too at the color of this entire reading, how much yellow. And you may want to look into, like, what chakra, I can't remember, does yellow represent. You may want to look into the number yellow. It kind of represents, I would say fire. That's kind of passion, and we're seeing that here in the Knight of Wands with any wand thing. But I just feel like this is a passionate week for you. And here you come, your outcome card is the moon, which to me just says trust your intuition, trust your subconscious, trust those things that you feel like are hidden from you. Libras tend to be very empathetic anyway, but I feel like just let your empathy guide you with these decisions and these things that you're letting go and changing of, because otherwise your energy is just so positive. It's just so yellow and pretty, just a pretty energy this week. What is hidden from you? Wow, more pentacles here and more yellow, obviously, but the 10 of pentacles hidden from you is wealth and security. So might be something that you're still working at. We've got the 9 here. The 10 is just, it's hidden from you. It's not something that's really on your mind this week. You might just be trying to get through this positive energy, which is great, and not really thinking that far into the future. The things you might be thinking about are just the limited future, the next few weeks and months that you're getting through. But you're very close to achieving your goal. That's your overall message. And let's get some final words here from the Soul Oracle deck. And we might pull a couple of these cards and see what it has to say for you. Be decisive. Okay, there you are. And again, if those decisions, I'm glad I went on that rant. I didn't know why. Sometimes you don't know why you're saying things, um, but be decisive. You know who you are, and those decisions, like I told my son, it's harder when you're in your 20s because you are figuring out who you are. But yeah, you get into your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, and those decisions have been made, and it just gets easier to make those decisions. So it's okay. Be decisive. And another message here, Libra, is make better choices. So, yeah, I think you're having a great week. If you do have some choicey things that come up, again, your advice with this moon card is really trust your intuition. You know the answers. You know the answers inside of you. And I'm trying to ward off a sneeze here. Let me grab a drink real quick. Your intuition is definitely going to be your guide this week, and it's going to help you guide those things, but you already know. And I love this energy for you, Libra. I just think it's such a positive thing. Again, with all the yellow, you may want to go look up just kind of the spiritual meanings of yellow, where that sits in your chakra system. And it might give you a little insight into maybe something that you also need to know this week, something that I'm not telling you here. So, Libra, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate your time here with me today. And I do hope there was something in this reading that you can take away and use. It looks like you're going to have a great week, and I'm excited for you about that. Let me know if you're comfortable sharing. Let me know what positive things are going on in your life and what's making you celebrate and live in this sunshine, because the rest of us definitely want to know what you're doing right, and share that, and we can help each other in that way. I do post weekly readings, so come back next week and we'll see if this energy continues or if something else comes up for you. Also, if you do like my reading style, of course, please like and subscribe. I really do appreciate that, and most importantly, it will help you find me next week. So again, Libra, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.